I go to our Shabbos this week's Parshas Devarim. Parshas Devarim, we find Moshe Rabbeinu saying at some point, he says that he was unable to lead the nation by himself, and he's single-handedly unable to bear the burden of the Tarchachem u'maschem v'rivchem. Moshe Rabbeinu says the troubles, the burdens, the arguments. He wasn't able to do it, and Rashi gives this like a very interesting example of the types of things that Moshe Rabbeinu had to deal with. I thought it was a very interesting Rashi, and I think it was a lesson that we can learn from it. So the types of things that Moshe Rabbeinu had to deal with, Rashi says, is Moshe, if he would leave his house early, then the people would say, oh, why is he leaving his house so early? Maybe he has some problems at home, doesn't want to be home. And if he left late, then they would say, why didn't he leave on time? You think he's sitting and he's plotting schemes against Bnei Yisrael. He's making plans against them. That's what Rashi says. It's the types of things that it sounds like Bnei Yisrael were just a bunch of cynics, that no matter what Moshe Rabbeinu did, they were always looking at a negative. So Rav Elia Meir Bloch asks a very simple question about Rashi's description of Moshe Rabbeinu's habits. And he asks, why did Moshe sometimes leave early and sometimes leave late? You would think Moshe Rabbeinu would be on like a set schedule or somewhat of a consistent schedule. Why did he sometimes leave early and sometimes leave late? So Rav Elia Meir Bloch says, no. Certainly Moshe Rabbeinu, he had a schedule, he had a set schedule, and he left the same time every day, and he did the same thing, he did whatever he had to do. That's for sure. The problem was Bnei Yisrael was so cynical, and the cynics saw what they wanted to see. If they decided that Moshe was having problems at home, then they saw him leave early. If they decided that Moshe Rabbeinu was plotting against them, then they decided that Moshe Rabbeinu left late that day. It was all in their own eyes. It was all in their own perception. They decided to see things negatively. So then they interpreted things in a negative light. And that's how life is a lot of times. Sometimes things are bad and sometimes things are good, but oftentimes it's all in the way that we look at things. Oftentimes, if we want to perceive people, if we want to perceive them negatively from the onset, then that's how we're going to see them, and that's how we're going to interpret their words. We're going to hear them say something, and if we had a preconceived notion about them, we're automatically going to say, oh, I can't believe he said that. But if we don't do that, if we're open, and it's the same the other way too. If someone has this, if you hear great things about someone and then afterwards you hear them talking, wow, this guy said the most amazing thing. But if we keep our mind open, if we keep our minds open, and we don't take these preconceived notions in our head, and we are not cynical, then we can look and we can judge each person, not judge, but see each person for how they really are. So we have to be aware not to become too cynical, thereby distorting reality just to support our own cynicism. That's something that's very important. We can't just buy into these false depictions that other people might have of other people. And we should strive to do the opposite, go out of our way to judge people favorably, especially this time of year. It's a good lesson to keep in mind. We should always judge people favorably, compliment people, don't criticize people, see the good in people instead of finding fault all the time. Have a wonderful Shabbat.